crew, just a bit of shy with him, the team depart out to the left-hand side, setting up for our final part of the show. It's important to remember that the 7 aircraft and pilots you've seen today are just the tip of the iceberg that's required to deliver this display. Sponsoring the 7 departure display pilots, we have rests 8 and 9, one Matt Brighty and the team. They haven't been involved in the display today, but they flew in the flight path over London yesterday and are recovering jets to Wellington as we speak. They'll be joining you. So, rolling from the left-hand side is the next display item. This is the North American Rockwell Bronco OV-10. Now this display is going to work very well here at Cosford for reasons that will become clear very quickly, I think. That's quite a distinctive. Opening up to around about, I'd say getting it towards the 300 knot mark. And straight away, I think the first thing to say is you can see the quite short, stubby wings. That was definitely part of the design, built to operate out of very small spaces, sometimes even cut out of jungles.
Gear down now, and you might wonder why has it got this very distinctive twin boom design? Well, it's got a lot of practical advantages. For a start, it enables cargo or paratroops to be dropped from the removable rear fuselage. There's a sort of pod type arrangement on the rear fuselage. In fact, there's a Bronco over in France that does parachute drops regularly. It also puts the tail surfaces in the propeller wash, which helps allow single engine takeoffs should they be necessary, even from unprepared strips. And cruisers are just so numerous. It's much faster, so it could reach its operating areas much more quickly. It could cruise at higher altitudes, out of small arms fire range.
And that flat 360 we saw just then is very much what this aircraft spent a lot of its time doing, a kind of loitering, because even close to the sea it could call up firepower from ships offshore. In addition, of course, it's armed as well, so it could also carry out its own ground attack.
Yes, and all of this was brought to bear in Vietnam. It entered service with the US Air Force in July 1968, by which time the conflict in Southeast Asia really was already well underway. The US Marine Corps brought them into use first, and as you say, they were able to conduct their own strike missions, as well as providing battlefield reconnaissance and all sorts of other close support duties. One of the great things about the Bronco was that, as we say, they were able to call in strikes by fast jets. They were even able to do laser designation of targets for example, US Air Force F-4 Phantoms in Vietnam. But the Broncos themselves could do a great deal of damage to a target before the dedicated strike jets even got there. And as we can see in this tremendous display, it's a really, really agile machine as well, isn't it? Rather belying its appearance.
Indeed, it had to almost turn on sixpence to keep a target or keep an area in view, and that helped by the magnificent kind of... There's a lovely view of it. Basically, the cockpit here is like a greenhouse, wrap around, and in fact it's actually wider than the aircraft is, so...
Peculiarly, but by all accounts they performed excellently. Afghanistan, I should say, not Vietnam. And there's a really good demonstration of the sort of agility. A fly past, banking 90 degrees one way, 90 degrees the other. California Department of Forestry flown for fire spotting.
And here you see the very steep approach, often called the Khe-Sanh approach, named after an airfield in Vietnam. Just the type of approach you fly when the area around your airfield is still a little bit hot, to try and limit your vulnerability to ground fire. The idea being that instead of a nice 3-degree slope down to land, you basically get above the airfield, dive straight down onto the runway and stop.
Flown with typical spirit by Tony De Bruyne, who's brought this aircraft over from Kortrijk in Belgium. A real enthusiast of this type and a superb display pilot. It's an ex-West German Luftwaffe target towing Bronco, hence the very